Hey everybody, I wanted to show you how I set up my GT-1000 to go into either a PA speaker, a guitar amp, or a powered cab. And this lets me just really plan out what I'm going to bring to a show, or if I don't need to bring anything. And it also makes my tone incredibly consistent across all three. So the first thing I'm just going to show you is how my pedal board's kind of laid out here. We have the MIDI controller, expression pedal, and then GT-1000 core. This is kind of my full GT-1000. I certainly saved a lot of money doing it this way. And I really don't think you need the full GT-1000. The core has everything that you want, aside from it doesn't have the XLR outs on it, but there's a way we can work around that. So let's just go over this. Input right here, there's two inputs for the guitar. This would be for my singer's guitar input if she needed to borrow my pedal board. And then we're going into, this is just a box holding up my pedal board, says to give it a better angle. We're going out of the next one. This is a Send 1 branching out. That is going into the powered cab. This is the Send 2. That is underneath the pedal board going to a DI box that has XLR out for the sound person. Or on the other side, there's another 1/4 inch out, and that could be for my own PA speaker on stage if I want to use a PA speaker for on-stage volume, or maybe I'm sending it to my band's in-ear rig, and I just want to send an extra little signal for them to use for in-ears if they're using in-ears, or if I'm using in-ears. That's incredibly helpful. And then lastly, that's kind of unscrewing, oh well. Lastly, we have the main out, which is going to whatever real amp I'm using, which in this case is the Eric Gale's Raw Dog DV Mark amp, the 250 watt. So that's how all of the ins and out are set up. And then if I just quickly run through this to show you, this is the same pedal chain I had in my last video. I'm not going to go over this, but these are all of the pedal blocks. And so all of this happens before we get to any preamp. And then we get to here where, okay, now we have a little bit of reverb. All the reverb you'll hear today is just from the GT-1000, not the amp. This is the main out. We have the preamp disabled because the main out is for a real guitar amp, so we don't want a preamp. And then I have the output set to recording, but I have no speaker type, so simulation is off. So it's just sending a signal basically straight out of the main out with no sculpting in any way. And then in my output, my global out, EQ, I have a -5 dB on the level. Then it goes around that. The signal continues to flow past that. This is where the preamp happens for front of house, PA, or powered cab. And I have the twin amp, Fender Twin, gain 40, sag -10, resonance -10, level 70, bass 70, middle 50, treble 50, and then low gain. And then I find that really helps getting all of the pedals and especially the distortion of drives to more accurately match a real kind of Fender Twin style amp, like a really clean amp. I find that you want to keep the gain switch on low if you're using the pedal blocks to give you the distortion. All right, then we go here to the Send 1, which is set to branch mode, and stereo link is off because the stereo link was on. It would use both Send 1 and 2, so we need that off. Branch mode is just going to send out Send 1. Return 1 doesn't work unless I was plugging in maybe backing tracks. I could plug in a phone or some device like that, like an MP3 player into there and play backing tracks through. That still works. But Send 1 is going to the powered cab. The powered cab is the DV Mark powered cab, and this is a 60 watt power amp with a guitar speaker. It has the DV Neo Pearl speaker, and this is how we have it set today. We're right about there. I keep the tone at the jazz whenever I'm using the GT-1000. If I plug my guitar right into it, I'll turn that up a bit, okay? And then lastly, we get to an EQ block, which we'll maybe mess around and turn that off later. The EQ block is for PA and front of house, and this is how we have this set. Like that, low cut, high cut. And then finally, Send 2, it looks disabled, but that's because we have Send 2 set to sub out, so it just kind of looks like it disables it, but it is still working. And then we have the sub out set to recording, just like the main out, but we do have the speaker simulation on here. And we're using the DV Mark Neo Gold speaker simulator. So that's what's going on here. Now let's get to the tones. Okay, we're going to be starting with the PA speaker on the left. We can turn all three on at the end, but we're just going to listen to one at a time. So this is the sub out, and this is the speaker simulated DV Mark speaker. obviously tell it sounds like a speaker IR, like in the room. It's very easy to feel that. And that could just be because of this particular PA speaker. It is a pretty flat EQ. It's a 2,000 watt PA, but it's just, you know, you can just kind of feel it doesn't feel in the room perfect. But again, like if you're in the audience, you're not going to notice this. If you're at a gig, this would be fine. It does feel powerful. Like I can feel, it feels more like a real guitar amp than some other modelers for me. So let's go on. All right, let's just try some dirt with it real quick. Very nice, okay. Now we're gonna shut off the PA. And this is using a line, we're sending line level signal through a 1/4 inch into the PA, by the way. All right, now we're gonna check out the DV Mark. This is the Eric Gales Raw Dog amp. I do really, really like this amp. I'm gonna set it about there. EQ's flat, reverb is off. That's usually how I set it. I'll just mess with the EQ at a venue if I feel like, oh, okay, something doesn't sound right. All right, so here we go. This is main out of the GT-1000. No preamp from the GT-1000. This is just the pedal blocks as I have them set up. We're not gonna even adjust any levels. And then no speaker sim, of course. Maybe a little bit louder, a tiny bit louder. A little bit less, that's pretty loud. All right, let's try the distortion. Sounds great. I mean, I love this amp. I love these speakers. That's my favorite. It's my favorite amp and speakers right now, so of course I would like it. But I do think they sound really familiar. Let's switch back and forth real quick. Let's go to the clean zone, actually. Right back to the PA. And back again. Sounds very, very close. All right, now let's go to the DV Mark powered cab. So we're using the preamp in the GT-1000 for this, but we are not using speaker sim because, of course, there is a guitar speaker inside of it. It's the DV Mark Neo Pearl. I think I said that already. That could be a tiny bit louder. This is a 60 watt amp. And the Eric Gales amp is 250, so it's a bit louder, of course. Sounds great, and then with the distortion. Go up a little bit, it is a bit quiet. I find this thing sounds better the louder you turn it up. About 1 o'clock right now on the volume knob. And then you've noticed I've gone through all 3 of these, and the distortion level was not wildly different when I went to any of them. Like I would never feel like, oh, I need to adjust my patch or my preset for the different setups because I've spent a lot of time sitting right here in front of all 3 of these getting them balanced. And that's really what it's all about. I spent the majority of my time getting the PA tone to sound good because that's what most people are going to hear. Like most people are not going to hear my amp tone. They're not going to hear the powered cab tone unless like they mic it up. But even if the sound person mics it up at a venue, they're hearing my amp mic'd up. They're not hearing my amp, right? And that's the whole point of an IR is you get just more control to the venue about how you're sounding, right? So I think that's what really, really makes this setup excellent. The last thing we're gonna do, well, let's try 2 more things. We're gonna go to the PA and we're gonna try turning off my EQ on that, and then we'll listen to all 3 of them combined, just because. Let's try that. So here's the PA again. I have before this. So here it is. I'm going to turn it off while I'm holding a chord. guess I'm not shutting off. Oh, there we go. I just didn't push hard enough, I guess. There's it off. There's it off. It's way punchier. Way punchier. Like, very fat. So that's kind of why I have the EQ on and the low cuts at 125. It was just way too bass heavy. And at a lot of venues, the speakers seem to be very bass heavy. The sound people like to turn the bass up a lot. So that's kind of what's going on there. So I think the EQ is kind of necessary for the PA speaker. But now let's listen to all three. Let's turn them all up. And they should sound really similar. Clip in my iPhone mic, but I mean that's okay with me. So, final thoughts on this. If you spend the time, you can really set up this device to be so controllable and usable. And like I said in my last video, like I just get to show up at the gig with the board, plug in the cable into whichever in or out or main out, sub out, or the DI box underneath. I can plug it into any of those outputs. And it's just automatically set up, and it's going to go to, okay, it's going to go to the powered cab. I'm using the powered cab today. Oh, I'm going to an amp today. Oh, I'm going to a PA today. And it's all going to sound really close between the three because I spent the time doing that. So that's my suggestion to you guys, is really try and set up your device to be as usable and flexible as possible, because you never know what's going to be at a venue or a rehearsal space. And obviously, like, the more comfortable you feel with your tone, the more comfortable you're going to play. And that's what it's all about, right? So I really like this device. I'll just go ahead and show you one more time how we've set this up. So we've got main out, no preamp, and it's set to recording. And we have speaker simulation off. And then in my output, we just have 5 dB, negative 5 dB on the level, okay? Then we get to preamp 1, which I went over a little bit in the other video. It's a twin, gain 40, minus 10 sag, level 70, bass 70, middle 50, treble 50. That's cool, okay. And then we get to send 1. Send 1 is just a branch out mode. So this is just sending the signal right out from there. Everything after that doesn't matter. And it's going to the powered cab because this is a power amp with a speaker, so we don't need speaker simulation. I could just run right from the preamp into that. Then we get the EQ for the PA or front of house. And then the sub 2 is disabled because we have the sub 2 set to the sub out mode. So that's how it works in the GT-1000 is it disables the block, but you're actually still using, I'm actually still using, where is it? Right here is the send 2. So that's what we're using to go to the DI box. And then the DI box has the quarter inch out and the XLR. And we have the output select on recording. And like I mentioned a million times, I have the Chop Tones DV Mark Neo Gold speaker with the M160 microphone. And that's it. And it's so versatile. Like, just being able to have consistent tone no matter what I'm using here. And that's again what it's all about. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll probably go over in depth the MIDI controller in another video and how I use it. I was mentioning the wah in the one video because I use the expression for the wah, but I actually push that pink button to enable the wah. So, and lastly, before we go, hello from my cat. Thanks for watching.